Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long, your host, here with my co-host and co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We are in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. We want to thank you for joining us for another episode of Travel Adventure. Is that a good word for it?
Yeah, it was an adventure.
Maybe some laughs, maybe some crying at the end.
Always.
Usually happens every episode. But today we are heading to southern Utah for a first-timers look and guide to Bryce Canyon National Park, a place that somehow feels both massive and incredibly intimate at the same time. Detailed would be another good word for it. We'll break down what makes Bryce Canyon different from the rest of Utah's national parks. You know, they got 5 of them. The viewpoints and hikes that are actually worth your time, and how to plan a trip that doesn't feel rushed or overly complicated, because Bryce Canyon itself, I think when you look at Utah has 5 national parks. So great.
Right.
You know? But when you look at them, I think this one is kind of one of those that people, I almost look at it as like the anti-national park. I think it's so simple to navigate.
Okay.
Because it's long and skinny.
It is, yeah.
And there's really just one road in and one road out of this sucker.
Yes, which we found.
And along there are some amazing outlooks and overlooks, and some wonderful like hikes, like day in, like just, in and out hikes and things.
Easy hikes. Yeah.
Just super easy. You see tons of families there. We recently just completed a trip there with actually kind of wrapped up the Big 5, Utah's Big 5 for me.
Yeah.
So now I can boast about that, and I'm going to be insufferable.
I know you are. I have not made it to all 5 yet. I've only made it to 3 now, but I feel like, in my opinion, that Zion is the most famous and visited of Utah's parks. But I think Bryce Canyon I would say it probably comes in second. You don't think so?
No.
Oh, okay. Because it's always the other one. If people aren't talking about Zion, they're talking about Bryce. But what is the next
I think
visited?
In proximity, because Zion and Bryce are basically neighbors. They their borders kind of touch or are very close to touching in some areas. But actually the second, in terms of annual visitors, is Arches.
Really?
Yeah. It goes Zion, Arches, Bryce. And then I believe it's either, I'm going to say Canyonlands.
I would think Canyonlands,
and then
right next to Bryce.
Capitol Reef, actually.
Oh, really?
Capitol Reef and then as far as annual visitors.
Well, that surprised me. Okay. I was wrong. I'll admit it.
You heard it here first. Record that.
I was wrong. Okay.
Send it. Anyone has a recording of that.
Well, it's interesting, though, because you and I were just there last week, and then I found out 2 days before we were there, one of my colleagues was there hiking in Bryce Canyon, too.
Oh, yeah?
Because as soon as we came back, and I was telling people we had just been there, he was like, I was just there. He was leaving when we were arriving. So yeah, it's I think it is a really popular one, though, if you're exploring southern Utah.
I think it is because of the proximity of it. And if you, Google Maps or anything like that, you can see, there's no direct road from Zion to Bryce as far as like enter park. I don't believe, unless it's like a backcountry road.
Yeah.
But there are, I think all the way around on the highways, I think it's about 80 miles or so from entrance to entrance. So usually when people go to one, they go to the other.
Yeah.
And it's kind of quick to check them both off.
Yeah. I think so.
So it's not that difficult to get to. Southern Utah is beautiful.
Absolutely.
You are talking, this is the postcard stuff. You're talking the red Aztec sandstone that you'll often see like in Valley of Fire, just north of Vegas, but it's everywhere in southern Utah. And then just the rock formations and everything just carved from millions of years of wind and water erosion and everything. And this is where you're going to find the popular stops like The Wave.
Yes.
And, just Google this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just The Wave.
Arches Park. But a lot of these parks have natural arches and them are what they call natural bridges. And those are always popular photo stops for people. But yeah, you'll see it everywhere just driving through there. And it's one of the most beautiful scenic drives getting up to Bryce Canyon on scenic Byway 12, which we really enjoyed driving.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
I thought you had more. I thought you were going to start reminiscing about scenic Byway 12, because it does, a lot of the area was used as inspiration to one of your favorite movies.
One of my favorite movies, yes. If you listen to the show, you've heard me reference the cartoon Cars before, and the drive that Lightning and Sally go on together is based on scenic Byway 12 with the rock tunnels they go through, and just the whole scenic drive right there. That is based on this. So we did actually get to drive through the rock tunnels, and I was so excited when we pulled up to them to see like this is an actual thing, and we got to drive through it, and you whipped out your camera and captured it. So I was happy that we got to do that. It made me feel like I was living in one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, and Bryce Canyon honestly is one of those things. If you're not into hiking, it's basically a big scenic drive, and there's a free shuttle that goes throughout the park. So you can not leave your vehicle and still get amazing views and just a wonderful time, and probably complete the park in 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
As opposed to if you do the hikes, which can take days, there's camping and all of that. But first, a little bit about the park, right? So it sits, even though it's in southern Utah, it sits between like 7,000 and 9,000 feet above sea level. Oh. So oftentimes when you're in the park, it's going to feel cooler, which makes it a popular summer stop because the degrees are a little bit less than when you're just wandering around the desert, like say here in Vegas or so. But like I think the top peak, Rainbow Peak and all of that at the end of the Bryce Canyon, I think it sits a little above 9,000.
Yeah. I feel like it was like 9,100 somewhere in there.
Yeah, like 9,150 or something like that. Because even when you and I went and it was a warmer day, we got to the top up there and we actually got a couple of snow flurries.
I know. I was like, this is crazy. We were just hiking in the desert and now we're in snow flurries at the top. It was at first we were like, what is happening? And then somebody else was like, yeah, these are snow flurries. And they were only for a couple of minutes, but it was just such an odd thing from where we had been to just taking the scenic drive up to the top. And now we're in a little bit of snow, and there was still snow on the ground. Yeah. From the last snow that they had.
And well, despite its name, Bryce Canyon is not a canyon. It's a series of natural amphitheaters carved into the edge of a plateau. What you see if you go to any of these parks around in southern Utah or even northern Arizona, if you go to like the Grand Canyon, you'll see a phrase over and over again that's called the Grand Staircase. And the Grand Staircase is not like, from Gone with the Wind. It's actually a massive natural like staircase, quote unquote, of rock layers that stretches from southern Utah and northern Arizona. Over 100 miles of these natural rock formations. So you can look at it as the Grand Canyon would be the first floor of the staircase, and it leads all the way up to Bryce Canyon and these natural kind of, steps up in elevation and the rock layers. So that's why,
And it's gorgeous hiking and scenery, like you were saying. We did spend some more time in that area outside of the park, which we'll talk about on another episode. But so many beautiful hikes and just photogenic spots. I mean, our phones are full. Like, we need to dump the footage because I think for the first time ever, you said your phone told you were out of storage.
Yeah, it's the first time ever. I mean, our wedding. Our kids' birth, nothing filled up the phone. Bryce Canyon filled up the phone. That is kind of true. All right, keep it right here. Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back talking about Bryce Canyon National Park.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here. I know. My finger slipped on the music. Jeremy Long here with, I want to say your name is Amy?
Yeah. Hello.
Welcome back to the show. Sorry, I'm trying to do like 8 things at once, but mostly I want to tell you about Bryce Canyon National Park. You like that? Like that segue?
I do.
It is one of Utah's famous Big 5 national parks. And they have some beauties out there, along with the popular one, the one that everyone knows is Zion. Bryce Canyon sits right next to it, and then you have Canyonlands, Capitol Reef, and Arches National Park.
And did you say that Bryce Canyon became a national park in like 1928?
Look at you reading the script. Yeah, so
almost 100 years. You calling me out. Come on.
Bryce Canyon became a national park on February 25th, 1928. Who was president? Signed it in.
Oh, that I did not remember.
Come on, man. You don't know that one? There you go.
No.
A young man by the name of Warren G. Harding.
Oh, okay.
Who, if history buffs out there, he may or may not have been murdered by his own wife while visiting Alaska.
If you want to know that story, you need to go to the Unscaled YouTube channel.
I have an
Jeremy
interview,
has an interview about it.
with a historian and author who has a very convincing theory that President Harding was, he was a philanderer. Anyway, going back to Bryce Canyon, the park is famous for hoodoos. And that is not like voodoo out of New Orleans. These are called hoodoos, which are thin rock spires that are formed by a freeze-thaw cycle where water kind of expands and cracks rock over time. And this is over the millions of years, and it still occurs today, which means that every time there's rain and the rain freezes inside the rock, it cracks after it thaws, and the cycles just go on and on. So technically, whenever you go to Bryce Canyon, if you make multiple trips, you won't necessarily see the same park twice.
Right. So these hoodoos, to me, this is almost like what you would think other planets would look like. I imagine Mars looks like this part of Utah.
Absolutely.
And I don't know why. Maybe that's just, Hollywood.
Yeah, it's red rock, and it's just figures and shapes from the rock and erosion and everything that you normally don't catch in different parts of the world, right?
Yeah.
I'll do me a favor, listeners, if you're out there, just Google Bryce Canyon real quick or Southern Arizona, you'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That it's not us just kind of making it up and inflating something that isn't true, but the core viewpoints, the easy access, high reward points. We mentioned you can drive to most of these. In fact, every one of these you can drive to and just get out and you can see the overlook, take some photos, and you get the gist of it.
Yeah.
But you really do yourself a disservice and cut it a little bit short if you don't get out and hike a little bit and get out into the wilderness.
But they do have what they call a scenic drive. It is not a loop. It actually dead ends at the top, and then you have to come back. But it's 18 miles one way. And I want to say there were about a dozen different viewpoints, and each one of them offered kind of a unique view of the hoodoos and the canyons, for lack of a better word. And we stopped at most of them. We didn't stop at every single one. But again, we filled up our phone storage with pictures of how beautiful it all was. But as you were saying, one of the most popular ones is one of the first stops.
Yeah. Sunrise Point. That you're going to continue on with it. Okay, I'll go there. Sunrise Point is one of the most popular stops, and it's right next to another area called Sunset Point. It's one of the first signs you see after you get through the visitors, like past the visitor center and the entrance area. You'll see it pointing off to your left. It gives you really easy access. Like Sunrise Point is famous for its sunrises. There you go. It's not rocket science, although it is geology. But easy access and soft morning light that really bring out the colors for rock. So early in the mornings, you'll catch photographers here catching that golden hour that really makes the red and yellow and golden rock just burst with color.
They almost seem to glow.
Oh yeah, that's one of the, I think, first things written about the park years ago was that the rock almost seemed to glow, not like it was reflecting the sun, but just light was coming from the rock. Sunset Point, I know I'm going to blow your mind here, but Sunset Point is probably the most iconic stop and includes the well-known Thor's Hammer Formation, but Sunset Point is where photographers like to gather for
the sunset.
There you go, Amy. She's reading the script again. The Sunset Point, because of how the light like fills in with the hoodoos and the cuts in the rock and everything. Again, sunrise, sunset, couldn't be more obvious, but you still like to point it out for people.
Right. I mean, there's so many great spots to stop. You and I took the approach of we were going to drive all the way to the end.
To Rainbow Point.
Stop there first, and then make the stops coming back, because we had hiked that morning. And so we decided kind of that front part of the park seemed a little bit busier, I guess. So we thought, well, we'll go to the end and work our way back. And I think it actually was a good plan for us because we didn't have too many crowds that we were dealing with. No. But I do think that Rainbow Point at the very end is an incredible viewpoint, not only for the elevation, but just you kind of had two different views because it sort of juts out, and then on either side it looked slightly different. It was an interesting spot, and then there's a little bitty walk across the parking lot to a totally different viewpoint.
Yeah, which that's where Yovimpa. So Yovimpa Point and Rainbow Point sit right next to each other, but they offer drastically different views of the rock formations and the valleys below and the surrounding areas. On a clear day, you can see for miles and miles and miles. I think they have actually a picture up there of like Navajo Point, which sits about 80 to 90 miles away, that on a clear day, you can see it, way out in the distance and everything. And you can see well beyond that too. So like you start out there at Rainbow Point, Yovimpa Point, you work your way back, and really you want to, I mean, obviously during peak season, it gets busy. Yovimpa and Rainbow have plenty of parking. They have, facilities, restrooms, things like that. Some of the other ones, like the Natural Bridge, has a little bit bigger parking lot, but some other ones like Inspiration Point and I think the Black Birch Canyon only had like 3 or 4 parking spaces at a time.
It was kind of a just pull over on the side of the road to get out.
Yeah. So, be careful.
Yes.
When you do it. But the reward is, in all of these, is that you're just going to be given, like you said, such a great view, like different views of the like vistas around there.
Yeah, they were gorgeous. And so many people, everybody was taking photos. So you'll want to have a camera with you and capture these beautiful moments to take home with you.
Keep it right here. It's Unscaled Travel Show.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Check us out online, unscaledtravelshow.com, for all of our past episodes and interviews. We even number them. Keep them in order. Okay. What episode is this one?
160.
160. Oh, the Lord. 160 episodes. Man, it's just not enough.
Yay, us.
We got to see more of the world and share these adventures with people.
I think we're doing a good job of that.
We've done it for 160 consecutive times. You know how long consecutive is? It's one right after the other.
I'm proud of you for knowing that.
Anyway, we're talking about Bryce Canyon National Park. Some good things to know before you go. Hikes and views and the, overlooks and everything that really make it worthwhile. I think what surprises people a lot about Bryce Canyon when they go there is that, like, Zion is known for its grandiose. There are huge, stunning hikes there, like Angel's Landing and, the Narrows with the water passing between the canyons. And it's so big and over the top. And when you go to Bryce Canyon, they still have just these amazing views and these amazing things to go do, but it's more subtle. It's not like they don't encourage you to hike to the top of the natural bridge arch. No. In fact, you can't go out there, because one day, because it's just natural, it will fall.
Right.
And lucky me, that would be my day when I walk my chubby self out there, it'd be that day. So it's like, it's much more subtle and subdued. But that doesn't mean it's less than.
No. And you know what I noticed? They had like bike paths. There were a lot of people out there just riding bikes and jogging and doing things like that. It was almost more of just like enjoy being in nature. Oh, and here's also this beautiful scenery while you're doing it. It was less like how you were saying. Some of the others seemed like they have this like grand, almost extreme hiker mentality about it. And this was more just like, hey, come enjoy Southern Utah.
Bring the kids.
Right. Not the dog.
Not the dog. That's a good
kids.
point. The dog cannot go on the trails, which we unfortunately found out, which is true in most national parks. Most national parks are you can bring your furry friend. They can only be in the paved areas.
Yes.
So like, honestly, they could go to, say, Rainbow Point. Everything's paved. The sidewalks are paved. But as far as the hiking trails, like Navajo Trail, which we're about to talk about, or anything like that, they can't go with you on the hikes.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. But it is what it is, right?
I mean, and our adventure dog loves to hike with us. So it was a little bit of a bummer for us that he couldn't go on these. But, we made it work. We found some other hikes outside of the park that he got to go on.
We bummed him off on some people, and we made it work for ourselves. If you do one hike, I would say it's probably going to be the Navajo Loop and Queen's Garden, which are about 2.5 miles long and drops you into the hoodoos.
Yeah.
It brings you into the world where you're only seen from the road.
Right. This is the park's most popular hike. Saying that, it does mean it is going to be the most crowded hike. I don't know if you heard, but we came across another couple who had done that hike that morning, and she was saying that it was just a line of people. Like they were just walking in a line. So, I mean, yes, it's popular for a reason, but set your expectations.
Yeah. This is where they have the famous photos, right? People often take the photo from the top of the trail that goes all the way down and shoots and looks like a big path going back and forth because of like all the switchbacks. Yeah. So this is that. And it's popular for a reason. It's Instagrammable for a reason. Oftentimes you'll want to check ahead because oftentimes, I know recently it was closed for a time because of like, I think rock slides or different things happen when flash floods and heavy rains or ice or anything else. So you just want to plan ahead if you're planning a trip to the park. But this is that area that if you're lucky, you can go there and but don't get angry when there's crowds because that's absurd. Okay. Just learn how to use your erase tool and your photo thing and you can Photoshop people right out of there.
I think it's a good time to mention this park is open year round, but because of that, due to weather and things, sometimes different trails will be closed. They do get snow in the park. So sometimes if there's too much water when the snow is melting or they get some kind of like small rock slide, they will close different trails. But saying that, maybe go in what's not considered peak season and you might have a little bit more of the trail to yourself.
Better luck. Yeah. We got there probably 9 or 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
If not, and then we just drove straight to Rainbow Point, and it wasn't crowded at all. Yeah. There was a period of time, I guess a bunch of people got up and left, and it was kind of quiet there for a little bit. We were at it by ourselves at Yovimpa Point, which sits right next to Rainbow Point, and we just were standing there and just taking all the photos and video that we wanted. So, and then we went to places like Black Birch Canyon.
Bryce, yeah. I think that's what it's called.
Anyway,
but I would say the most crowded one we came across was the Natural Bridge.
Natural Bridge.
And just because it's such a stunning photographable place, I think a lot of people were just kind of hanging out there. It wasn't like a stop, take your photo and leave. There were people having photo shoots.
They were, like the whole family was there. They had outfit changes. Some of them were just like they brought like
a
Santa
hair and makeup
hats.
person.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
This is their Christmas card.
I saw some guy was dressed up like a leprechaun. I'm like, well, who's that for? I don't get that. Another really popular trail is the Rim Trail. The Rim Trail runs along the edge of the amphitheater and connects the major viewpoints like Sunrise, Sunset, and Inspiration Point. It's a really popular one. It's mostly flat. You'll see that's the one like a lot of families do together, but it's one of the easiest ways to kind of extend the visit without doing the full canyon descent or anything like that. So you can walk the short sections between the viewpoints and, get the hike in, get out of the car for a little bit, but it's easy enough that the kids can come along or grandmama,
They call it more of a scenic walk than a hike. So if you're not into hiking, this might be the one for you.
Yeah, you want to trick your teenager who's all moody, be like, we're just going for a walk. It's not even a high, bro. Don't trip. Keep it right here on Unscaled Travel Show.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're in Sin City, Las Vegas in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios, giving you first-time info. If you've never been to Bryce Canyon National Park, number one, you're missing out. Number two, it's really easy to kind of plan a trip. It is a straightforward park. Because it's part of Utah's Big Five and its proximity to Zion National Park, there are peak seasons that can get a little, full. The park can get a little full. And you'll notice driving into like Bryce Canyon City, that sits right outside the park, all the shuttle parking. There are a couple of big parking lots for shuttle parking. You don't even have to drive into the park. You are still required to buy a ticket or show your pass, your America the Beautiful pass.
Yes.
Pick one up. We used ours. But there are parking lots designated and designed for shuttle use, and that helps alleviate all the congestion in the park that can come. We were talking about hikes, and I know one that is a little bit more strenuous. There's always people out there that are like, I want bigger, better. I want to be...
We know some of these people.
My friend John. The one people always mention to me, I've never done this one, but it's called the Peekaboo Loop. The Peekaboo Loop is longer. It's a little bit more physically demanding. It's typically about 5 or 6 miles, depending on how you connect the different trails. That's the cool point about Bryce Canyon. It's about like this connection of trails that are off the main road, right? So it takes you deeper into the hoodoos, just like magic mushrooms or something like that. It can take you deeper into the hoodoos, man. Just a total trip. And offers quite a little bit quieter experience compared to the Navajo Loop, which is immensely more popular and more inundated with people because it's a little bit easier and people want to stop and take 59 photos for their 12 followers.
True. Yeah, I think the Peekaboo Loop, like you said, it is more physically demanding, and it's more of like if you want to spend half a day hiking, that's probably the trail to do. The other ones are much shorter hikes. I would say 1 to 2 hours, but this one seems to fall into that like 4-hour hike range.
So the real world logistics of Bryce Canyon. So we operate here out of Las Vegas. It sits about 4 hours north off of Highway 15 in southern Utah. So that's like past St. George and it's right before Cedar City. I believe you take an exit right before Cedar City, I believe. But it's off of Highway 15, which will take you basically most of the way there. It's roughly an hour and a half, depending on how you drive from Zion's. You're talking entrance to entrance. If you want to visit each one of them, there you go. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours. But the drive itself is part of the experience. And we mentioned it a couple of times already. But Scenic Byway 12 is a gorgeous drive in itself. And that right there is like half a day adventure if you want to follow the Scenic Byway.
Right. Because Scenic Byway 12, before you get to Bryce Canyon, is called Red Canyon. And it is owned, I think, by like the National Forestry Department, and they have all types of hiking trails there too, which your dog can go on.
Yes, they can.
And if you even go to the Bryce Canyon website, it tells you if you're bringing a dog, maybe you should go hike Red Canyon.
They're like, why don't you take your mud over there? Like, thanks.
But it's just such a gorgeous drive. There's so much to see just on the way to Bryce Canyon when you're coming from the east. Like, you'll want to stop just even before you get to the park for a few of these photo opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bryce itself, the park layout, we mentioned this, I think, at the top of the show, but Bryce is built around a single main road. It runs north to south, super easy, and the viewpoints branch off kind of along the way. So, I mean, you can't get lost. You follow the one road there is in and out of the park, right? So most first-time visitors spend the majority of their time in the northern section near the Sunrise and Sunset Parks. This is going to be where the entrance is. It's close to the visitor center. There's a few parking lots and everything. The southern end of the park is less crowded, though. And that's the one we were talking about, the Rainbow Point and Yovimpa Point, and requires more driving, but offers a little bit more broader views.
Well, and this is where it gets interesting, because there's actually a trail that is even more north that you don't even realize that you're in the park, because you don't have to show your pass to get in. Because we went on this trail, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in a minute, but we didn't even realize the trail we were on was part of the park until we later saw a map, and it's like, yes, the park does extend.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about it now. I mean, Mossy Cave.
Yeah.
So Mossy Cave sits, if the main road into Bryce Canyon and Bryce Canyon City, I forget what it's called. Is it just Bryce Canyon Road?
So.
Okay. They're very inventive with names there. Okay. So Bryce Canyon Road, if you go 10 minutes, less than that, past the circle, was it?
The traffic circle.
Traffic circle, you'll find on the right-hand side Mossy Cave Trailhead. There is a parking lot, and there's an overflow parking lot, because it's pretty popular, because it's super easy. See lots of families out there, you know, those super dads. They got one kid on the back and one kid on the shoulder, and they're like hiking. But they're out there, and it has a couple of natural waterfalls that people stop and take pictures at. You stick your hands in the water, you know, I splashed some water in my hair and everything. It was super cold. And it is technically a part of the park.
Yeah.
And you'll see confusing signs everywhere. They're like, entering the park, leaving the park, entering the park, leaving the park. And you're like, okay, I think it's one of those things that the
trail kind of goes in and out.
But in different places.
At that point, you don't have to pay to go on this trail. There's so many trails in the area. We just thought it was another trailhead, not even realizing that it is officially the most northern part of Bryce Canyon.
It is. And this is where we ran afoul of the law. And we brought Chief. He's our adventure dog, and we didn't think anything of it, because we were coming in from Escalante and from the other side of the Scenic Byway, and we had seen one sign, but nothing that said like this is a Bryce Canyon area or whatever. And so we brought our dog on the trail. We didn't think to stop at the sign. That's totally on me. There was a bunch of people around the sign.
There were a bunch of people.
So I didn't want to stop and like be a part of this group of people I didn't know. So I just brought my dog, and he had a good time. You know, he did dog things. But then on the way out, a ranger was there, and he got all official on me and was like, you know, you can't bring your dog on the trail. And I was like, number one, who are you? Because he just looked like some guy. He wasn't wearing anything official. But then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's my bad.
We did find it on the sign. It was very small.
I found it. And I was like, I'm sorry. But we were on our way out anyway. No harm, no foul. But isn't it, though? Keep it right here.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-host, co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
Check us out online, unscaledtravelshow.com, man. Especially that YouTube page. Man, that YouTube channel's blowing up, bro. Whoever voices those videos puts them together. It must be one handsome, smooth talking guy right there.
I agree.
Whoever that is. Anyway, check us out there. We're also at Unscaled Travel Show on Instagram and all the other time-sucking platforms, social media platforms there are. You can't keep up with them all, man.
Yeah. Please go waste your time looking at our stuff.
That's a ringing endorsement, right?
Use it, time suck.
Yeah, there you go. I said something else, but this is a family program. Okay, so we're talking about Bryce Canyon National Park. And there is some practical information, even though Bryce Canyon is kind of straightforward and it is a national park. So if you visited one, you kind of got the rules down, but there are some specifics that you just want to keep in mind, especially if, you can't pick a lot of the time when your time off is. So most people get off some summertime during peak travel season. Well, you got to understand that so does everyone else. So they're all going to be there. And you'll notice when you're coming in off of either Highway 15 or the Scenic Byway that there's a lot of cars going this way. And then when you're passing through Bryce Canyon, you'll notice a lot of parking lots, or at least a few parking lots that say designated parking for the shuttle.
Yes.
The shuttles for Bryce Canyon. They do have a number of shuttles that are free. These are free, like hop on, hop off shuttles that operate all day long and into the evening. You do still have to pay for parking or for entrance, your entrance fees, and also, or show your pass, your America the Beautiful pass, or whatever your pass that you have. But you need to understand that like there is some parking in some spaces, like sunrise and sunset points, but they fill up very quickly, especially mid-morning through mid-afternoon.
Right. And so, as you said, there is the free shuttle. It does only run from April to October. So in the winter and early spring, it's not running because just traffic is less at that time. Yeah. But as you were saying, there isn't a ton of parking at a lot of these viewpoints. So if that is your goal, to go and see all these different scenic viewpoints, the shuttle is probably the best way to do it. Yeah. They have a fairly large parking lot at the visitor center, or if you happen to be staying at one of the campgrounds on site, or I believe the lodge, the shuttle will pick you up. It has like a designated pickup spot at each of the campgrounds. Yeah.
And the buses are pretty darn good. They're efficient. They run about every 15 minutes per stop. They try to keep it that way so the crowds don't build up. And either at the viewpoints or on the buses themselves, because, we've been a part of some in some national parks. Not going to say that it was just a mess.
Yeah.
So, but it's better. But practicality, looking at this in a practical sense, spending a day there, you can do the highlights in half a day in Bryce Canyon. You're going to feel a little bit rushed. You're going to feel like you're just, rushing from viewpoint to viewpoint. Which if you're stressed for time, okay, I get it. Do what you got to do, see the park, buy the pin, move on, but a full day really allows you to hit the viewpoints and complete at least one of the really easy hikes.
Yeah.
If you want to go on the Navajo Loop or the Queen's Garden or anything like that, it'll allow you that time to go and get out of the car, get amongst the hoodoos and just really kind of see the park from that.
Yeah. So we did one hike in the morning. We did not do the Navajo Loop hike. We did a different one called Mossy Cave. And then we did the scenic drive. And I think we spent about 4.5 hours total. So, we could have stayed and done more, but for us, it was the end of our trip. So we were kind of anxious to get on the road and head home. But I think for what we wanted to accomplish, that was a good amount of time. But if we would have had if we would have started earlier in the day, maybe, I think we probably would have done a second hike, maybe.
Yeah. Other things to consider. It is southern Utah. Because of its altitude, the temperatures do, range a little bit lower than, say, Zion. And some other parks like Arches that has zero shade anywhere, by the way, Arches. But summer temperatures are cooler because of that elevation, but the sun exposure is still really heavy. We did, on a couple of hikes, find some trees and everything, so it's not that it's completely barren out there, but it's still long periods of time between shade options.
Yeah.
So if it's midsummer and you're going out there, like, bring an umbrella is a good choice. Wear your sunscreen.
Absolutely.
Bring plenty of water. Even if it's a little bit cooler in these higher elevations, it's kind of...
You can get dehydrated.
Yeah, you can get
quickly,
dehydrated very quickly.
And because of the higher elevation, you can get like altitude sickness also. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, because if they are hiking, and hopefully they've thought about this, but they may not want to eat a whole lot because you do get hot and you get overheated, but definitely make sure that you bring a power bar or granola, some trail mix, something, because there is not a lot of food options in the park. And that's definitely something to mention. I think they have a restaurant at the lodge, and then maybe there was a couple of snacks in the visitor center, but that was it. I didn't see anywhere else.
You had to go outside the park.
Yes.
Into Bryce Canyon City and surrounding areas to find restaurants.
And Bryce Canyon City is not, a big metropolitan city. It is a small town. There's not a lot of options.
The one
either.
that sits outside of Zion, Springdale.
Yeah.
Which even I think compared to Springdale, Bryce Canyon isn't as flourishing.
Yeah, we ended up driving to the next town over to pick up lunch because there just wasn't that many options in Bryce Canyon City, and they were all crowded.
Absolutely. So, and just keeping that in mind, the altitude thing. If you're coming from lower altitudes, all of a sudden you're 9,000 feet above sea level, and you're not taking any time to like get acquainted to the altitude or used to the altitude or whatever it is. You can experience altitude sickness. You can be, have the headaches and dizziness and all that. So just really be careful. Okay. The dining options, bring some snacks, bring your water, and Bryce is super easy to navigate. Okay. One road in, one road out kind of thing, but small logistical decisions like when you arrive, where you park, and really how you pace your day will have a really big impact on your experience in the park overall. And we want you to have fun.
Right.
Be safe. We saw some deer.
We did see deer. You know how excited I get when we see animals when we're traveling. And you were like, "Oh, look, there's deer on the side of the road." And unfortunately, they ran off when we saw them. But yeah, it was so cute. But what was the other thing? Not groundhogs or
prairie dogs.
Yeah,
prairie dogs.
I know. What? I was surprised. Prairie dogs.
There's prairie dog signs out there. Yeah. I didn't see one.
Or at least I don't think I did. But in the visitor center, they had prairie dog stuffed animals with the Bryce Canyon logo on them. So apparently they're there.
Which another great park, just talking about national parks and prairie dogs, is Big Bend. If you've ever been to like Big Bend National Park in Texas, there's the road. I forget the highway that leads off Interstate 10. That goes south, it just runs right into Terlingua and Big Bend. But all along that road, you just start seeing these like hills and these animals on the side of the road. And I was like, what are these? I was traveling with my friend Andy, and I was like, what are these animals? And it turns out they're prairie dogs. And I'd never seen these things before, but they were like popping up everywhere and like looking at us.
Those were made up animals for cartoons.
Yeah, I thought that like these aren't real. That's not a real thing. What is this? That's like some Walt Disney prairie dogs. Get out of here.
You're living in a cartoon right now.
I basically did. About 320 days out of every single year, I live in cartoons. But if you had a peek real quick or a vista that you wanted to tell people, this is the best one. Don't miss this.
I mean, the natural bridge was pretty awesome, and it is right there on the side of the road. So if you want a quick hop out, awesome photo, I would say that's probably the one.
I like that. Look at you looking at the script.
I didn't, but okay.
Keep it right here. It's the Unscaled Travel Show. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
So I'm messing with buttons over here, and I'm getting what I'm doing. We are chatting about Bryce Canyon National Park. It's good to earmark, I think, episodes like this. If, we take all of our episodes and put them later on popular podcasting platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And it's good to earmark this because you may not be headed to Bryce Canyon right now, but you might in the future. And there's over the last, I want to say 15 years or so, maybe longer than that, but really the rise of social media have kind of put these bigger parks into play as far as like Utah has these 5 national parks. If you look at the grand scheme, even Nevada's Great Basin National Park is in this vicinity.
Yeah.
So people have taken it like as a challenge. Like let's, in a week visit almost 6 national parks in a single loop or whatever. And you can do it with some planning. And I think we'll eventually talk about that.
I think we will. And if you ever look at the map of the national parks, this side of the country, a majority of them are on the west side of the country, but this area right here, southern Utah, Arizona, eastern Nevada, California, New Mexico. Did I say Arizona? That's like, there's so many in that area. I mean, I think you could realistically hit like 7 or 8 of them if you wanted to do kind of a week-long trip and hit a different park every single day.
Man, you could.
Because we've hit Grand Canyon in Arizona, obviously. You've hit all 5 of the Utah. We did not go into Grand Basin, but we drove right by it on one of our previous road trips.
Right.
But we did also go to Mesa Verde in Colorado and Great Sand Dunes, which is all right there. And then Arizona has a few others if you want to go a little more south, I guess, or southeast. Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for like one of the great road trip roads, if you look at Highway 89, Highway 89 stretches, into Utah and even further, but it goes all the way down into Arizona. And along this, now they're not all directly right on Highway 89, but this is a path that'll take you from southern Arizona to like, what is their national park? Like Sequoia
up to Grand Canyon.
Yeah. Sequoia up to Grand Canyon National Park, all the way around through Page, which isn't a national park, but the Page Horseshoe and the Slot Canyons, the Antelope Canyons, which are gorgeous.
Horseshoe Bend and Antelope Canyons.
Horseshoe Bend, and then all the way around to Zion and Bryce and Canyonlands, and all the national parks in Utah are kind of, located off the main artery of Highway 89. And it's just kind of like a challenge that people have done, or like one of those road trip things that people have put together. You see it on Pinterest and different places like that before. Yes, I know Pinterest.
You referenced Pinterest.
Anyway, one of the things that I think we would be remiss to mention or not mention about Bryce Canyon is its dark sky designation.
Oh, right. Yeah.
A lot of people stay overnight or at least into the evenings at Bryce Canyon because in 2019, they gained international dark sky status. They have Bryce Canyon has high elevation, really clean air, and its remote location. It helps create some of the darkest skies in the United States. So you can go out there and see, on a clear weather night or on a new moon night, you can see thousands upon thousands of stars, spectacular bands of the Milky Way, all of that. It looks like something out of a movie.
Right. And the park offers something very unique. On full moons, they actually offer ranger-led hikes at night. And so you do have to sign up, reserve your spot on their website, but it is intended for you to take advantage of this dark sky designation. They don't allow traditional flashlights. You can only bring the red lights so that it doesn't interfere with viewing the dark skies. But it's so awesome that they do this. And you and I were in that area during a full moon, and we can attest the full moon was so bright. It felt like there was a street light on us. Like there were shadows from the moon.
Yeah, I thought where we were staying at Upland Escalante, right outside the town of Escalante, and I thought there was a sign on outside our window. I got up and I looked. I was like, "What is going on?" And it's the moon.
Right.
It's so bright.
It was so bright. We stood in front of our little cabin and there was actual shadows coming off of us from the full moon because it is a dark sky area. So there's no street lights, anything like that. And just standing in the moonlight, it felt like there was a street light right outside of our cabin. It was so bright. So Bryce Canyon, though, I think it's awesome that they offer these. And the next time we're in the area, I definitely want to sign up for it. But it is only during full moons, and they do keep the groups very, very small. So if it's something you want to do, definitely plan ahead.
The last couple of years, they actually have gotten together a really very unique and very fun festival called the Astronomy Festival that is held usually in June. This year, in 2026, it's held June 11th through 13th. It's the Bryce Canyon Astronomy Festival. So this is a time where they're going to have family-friendly daytime activities, and in the evening they're going to have special programs, telescope viewings, and constellation tours.
Really?
All designed around this dark sky that is so incredible to see. I mean, around here, especially, it's so fun to talk about from Vegas because everything is so lit up you can't see anything ever. It's just daytime here all the time.
We can see a few stars
just here and there, but like just a couple hours north in either direction you have Death Valley, which also has dark sky designation, although it's not as good as Bryce Canyon's.
Yeah, Death Valley's a little too close to us.
Death Valley is starting to be encroached on light pollution wise by Las Vegas and Los Angeles and the surrounding areas. It's starting to creep over the mountains. So it's starting to lose. And they think, I read somewhere the other day, they think somewhere in the next couple of decades, it's probably going to lose its dark sky designation, which is really sad.
It is.
For Death Valley and the surrounding areas. But not to be sad, but Bryce Canyon still has it. And it's amazing to check out there. And it's something you really can't put into too many words, but if you have the time and you go and you can go do it June 11th through 13th this year, but every June, I believe, is when they try to have it. But the Astronomy Festival is something that's really unique.
That is really cool. I didn't know they did that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we finally made it out to Bryce Canyon because I've heard so much about it over the years, and to finally see it for myself and see these beautiful vistas in person, it does kind of feel unreal.
You wanted to say hoodoo.
A little bit.
Yeah. So you
a little bit.
Just let it roll off your tongue.
The hoodoos.
There you go.
But it does kind of feel unreal. And you're standing there and you're looking at this, and you kind of have to like take a moment and just take it all in, because you're a little bit like, am I actually here in this beautiful painting in front of me?
Oh, I agree.
Which there were so many, there's so many places to go camping, even if you're not in the park, but outside of the park, and even towards Escalante where we were staying, we saw quite a few different campgrounds or cabins that you could stay in, because just that whole area, people really do take advantage of the hiking and the outdoor activities and the dark sky designations. We saw a few places that kind of highlighted that as an activity for you. So a lot to do in that area. I know the park itself is, I would not say small. I would say the park itself can be completely, you could probably do every trail, see all the vistas in 2 days, but the area around it, there's so much to do. You could have a whole vacation, 2-week vacation in that area and never duplicate something.
Yeah, along that route. I mean, I love the little small towns. We grew up in small towns, and so I always have an affinity for them. Bryce Canyon City itself kind of serves the park, but the other little cities around there are like Tropic and Escalante, and even the little one you'll pass when you go through there if you're coming from 15 is called what? Panguitch?
Yeah, I don't know how to say it.
I don't know how to say it. It's Panguitch. That's Panguitch to me. It's like
that's how I would say it.
It's almost like a penguin sandwich. A penguitch?
Penguin sandwich.
That's dumb. But there,
I love you.
Hangwood, you'll get one of the best burgers you'll ever have.
Oh, yeah.
Go to a place called Henry's Drive-In.
It was good. That was
Henry's
a good burger.
Drive-In. They're not paying us any money, although they should. But like delicious hamburgers, delicious food right there. Especially after you've been hiking around through Bryce Canyon National Park. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for joining us. Unscaled Travel Show. See you guys.